These are the Player Ones by Serious Player Only. So Serious Player Only is a new basketball shoe brand that's starting to take off. It took me a while to get around to doing this review because I had knee pain, which means I wasn't able to play in them on the court. But now that my knee is getting better and healthier, I was able to hoop in these a little bit. And I really wanted a good amount of time in this before I gave my full and honest review. But first let me give a summary about what this brand is about, because I truly do have high hopes for them. This is the only shoe they released so far, the Player Ones. But if you follow their IG, you can see that they're working on a lot more models, including the Player One Plus, which is supposed to be an improved and updated version of these ones. Before we get into anything, I just want to say that the box is really cool. It's not just regular cardboard. It's a sturdy material. It does nothing for the shoe, honestly, but the fact that it's a high quality box and not just some regular cardboard box, it shows that they really care about the presentation and the unboxing experience. And honestly, it deserves to be praised for that. Alright, getting back into the actual shoes, I got the Player Ones in the Cocoa Pink colorway, which is definitely my favorite colorway out of all of the colorways they have. These look really familiar, don't they? That's because they're heavily inspired by the Kobe line, and you can tell. I specifically see resemblance with the Kobe 8s and the Kobe 11s. And that's not a bad thing though, because they look good. Based on the looks and appearance, I would honestly give this a 9.4 out of 10. It's one of my favorite looking shoes in my collection so far. Getting into the materials, the upper is made of something they call nerve knit, which is kind of like a more durable fly knit material, and that's what makes them really lightweight, which is arguably its best feature. You obviously want to have lightweight shoes on the court so you can move faster, and these are going to help you do that. Moving down to the midsole and the heel of the shoe, this seamless transition from upper to midsole kind of reminds me of the Kobe 11s. So yeah, I already said that it's really similar to the Kobe line. The outsole has a cone pattern and has a carbon fiber plate in the middle of the outsole right here and right here, which adds a bit of a premium feel to it. The rubber is really thin, and you can see how thin it is by the way I'm touching it and the way that it sounds when I'm touching it. But yeah, it really makes me worry about the durability of the shoe outdoors. So I would say to strictly use these for indoor purposes. And probably my favorite thing about the shoe are the drop-in insoles, these ones right here, which is really similar to the Kobe 9 insoles. The quality of these insoles are surprisingly really good, and they're the original insoles that come with the shoe. It's called Evenlon, and it's a pretty thick rubber insole that's really comfortable on your feet. It has these foam pads on the forefoot and the heel for added shock absorption, and what I really noticed when I took out the insole was how thin the outsole of the shoes really are. Without the insoles, look how much I can bend them. Like, that is crazy thin. Look how much I can bend the shoe, twist it, so the torsional support isn't the greatest. So finally onto the wearing experience of the shoe. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. The best thing about wearing them was the insoles, which were really comfortable like I mentioned before. I didn't feel the need to change the insoles or anything because they're really good quality insoles, unlike most other basketball shoes with just a regular foam insole. My feet weren't slipping at all inside of them because the pattern of the insoles are really grippy to prevent that. Also, the fact that it's really lightweight helps a lot with my play style. You know, I'm a lighter guy, I'm a smaller guy, and I use my quickness to my advantage, so I like the fact that it's lightweight and it's comfortable. But the reason I didn't give it a higher score, because I prefer a more lockdown feeling when it's on my feet. There's a decent amount of cushioning on the heel and the ankles, but I like when there's a bit more cushioning around the ankles so that my feet feel more secure. When I wear them, it's only moderately secure. Traction gets a 7.8 out of 10 for me. It does its job, and it bites the court pretty decently. I did notice the midsole bend a few times when I was moving laterally, and that's due to the thinness of the rubber on the outsole and the midsole. But that wasn't a huge problem. It didn't happen all the time, but I did notice it a few times. I did have to wipe the bottoms a few times to get the best out of the traction, but honestly, that's with every shoe. The courts I go to are really dusty, so that's not to blame the shoes, it's to blame the courts. And the jumping performance, it gets a 7.7 out of 10. Unfortunately, because of my knee injury, I wasn't able to jump maximally, so it might have been different if I got some max jump sessions in with him. But in the time I did have jumping in these, the fact that it's lightweight really helps with my jumping. The insoles are softer than I would prefer when I'm jumping and dunking, because usually when you have a softer insole, some of that momentum that you're building up gets lost in the softness, which is why I usually like to change the insoles for a more firm insole. The traction of my block foot could be better as well. Like I said before, the midsole would sometimes bend when I moved laterally in them, and one of the cases I experienced that in was when I was planting my block foot onto the floor hard. It only happened once though. The overall performance score of the Serious Player Only Player Ones, when I add all of the totals, is 8.2 out of 10. It's a great looking shoe. The performance was good, but not great. It was lightweight and comfortable, but lacked a bit of that torsional support that I like and a lockdown feeling on your feet. This is a new brand after all, and their first ever shoe that they released, so I applaud them for making an actual quality basketball shoe, so props to them. And I really like that they take constructive criticism and they're using that criticism from other reviews and working on that to make an even better product. Like the Player One Plus. There's a lot of people that experience experienced what I experienced with the torsional support and the thinness of the outsole. So the fact that they're releasing a Player One Plus that's supposed to remove all of those problems, but still have the same look and the same shape, but a better performance overall, that's really cool. And I really appreciate that. It shows that they really care. I'd love to check that Plus model when it comes out, so I want to see if it's really improved from this. This is still a great shoe to hoop in, and it's one of my go-to pairs in my collection. Like I said, I really do have high hopes for this brand, since I'm constantly seeing them grinding on IG, and I see all the upcoming products that they're working on. I'm excited to see what they come out with next. Shout out to Series Player Only. Keep doing your thing.